The man with the yellow hat is a jerk. The man with the yellow hat is a jerk. The man with the yellow hat is a jerk. So, George is a wild monkey who lives in Africa, and as you can tell, he's very happy. Until one day, this jerk who we only ever know as the man with the yellow hat goes to the jungle in Africa and sees George. He wants him as a pet. So he puts his hat down in the middle of a clearing so that George will come down and look at it. Then he pops him into a bag up to his neck. Then he takes him onto a boat. This is so wrong. Then he takes him out of the bag and tells him to wait in this room and not to get curious about anything. Which is ridiculous, as George, being a wild monkey, has no understanding of the English language. Then the man irresponsibly leaves George alone. George, of course, sneaks out of the room and ends up going onto the deck of the ship. Then he sees a bird flying over the water and decides to imitate them. He jumps off the deck trying to fly and ends up in the water where he nearly drowns. Thankfully, the sailors on the boat, unlike the incompetent man with a yellow hat, see this and save his life. Then, after they get to the city and to where the man with the yellow hat lives, he feeds George and also lets him smoke a pipe, which is very wrong and dangerous. This man is just asking for his home to burn to the ground. Anyway, then George is also put into these oversized pajamas. Then he goes to sleep. Then, in the morning, the man with the yellow hat telephones the zoo because he wants to put George into that zoo. We'll get to that later. Then the man with the yellow hat once again leaves George unattended. George, of course, thinks the phone is cool and wants to use it. Unfortunately, he unintentionally calls the fire department, who track the call to the man's house. They see George and rush after him. They catch him and end up taking him to the police station where he is put in jail. None of this would have happened if not for the incompetent man with the yellow hat. Then George jumps onto the bars to try and escape, and this guard comes in. He leaves the door open. Then the man stands on the bed to try to get George, and the bed raises up in the air and smacks the man into the wall. The poor man probably has a concussion and several broken bones now. Then George rushes out the open door. This is the guard's fault. He, like the man with the yellow hat, is incompetent. Then George escapes via the roof and these telephone wires. This is so dangerous what George is doing. This is very dangerous. But he gets to the ground safely. Then he sees this man selling balloons and toys. He wants some balloons. Then he grabs all of them and goes flying up into the air. He goes higher and higher. Then, thankfully, he ends up coming down and lands on a stoplight. The man with the yellow hat spots him and ends up saving him. And he even pays the man that George took the balloons from money for all the balloons. Then, after all this, the man with the yellow hat takes George to a zoo, which is not where any animal wants to be. Let's prosecute. The man with the yellow hat abducts a monkey out of its natural habitat and takes him onto a ship on the ocean. Then leaves him unattended on a ship so that he nearly drowns. Then leaves him unattended a second time while in the city he lives in, where he gets arrested for calling the fire department and ends up nearly dying again via falling from a great height while holding on to balloons for his dear life. Then, after he is rescued from his fate, the man with the yellow hat puts him into a zoo, which is not where any animal wants to be. The man with the yellow hat is a jerk.